All right. Well, here we are. There's not much to start because once I start the chapter, we get hit with that new content.
Yeah, Pog tent, if you will.
Yes, the best kind of tent. It's just a tent. What if for the rest of the game he's like, I never want to be inside there again, and it's just like
in a corner of that
he becomes
small,
like a chef.
dark room, Sholmes and I waited
God,
with bated
fucking
breath.
Sholmes.
In time,
Also voice acting, which does exist in the Ace Attorney series, but it's rare.
Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
Yeah, I'm glad we watched this start of the session, because I would not have remembered a lot of those details.
There was a snake on board the steamship Buri? I missed that.
You just know Arthur Conan Doyle would have loved this.
So then,
Absolutely.
Let us unravel this mystery.
This is his favorite novel he
Discover what
made.
events led
Yep.
to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality.
Do you bet the cap?
That's a Call's persona.
This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident.
What do you mean?
The victim himself, I would venture.
We can't have luminol girls, so we have luminol gun?
Yeah.
Not a good trade-off, honestly.
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
Da! No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait!
That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. I need cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
It's been 5 seconds.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Sholmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
Oh shit, they're dead. Is it gonna be me again?
Yep.
Ugh. My head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Quick, we have to make a character who's been falsely accused as the murder more times than Maya. Sir, no one's even close to her numbers. Fuck it, make a whole game series where that every single case, every case. Wait, I can't move. God damn it. Oh, what the? Why am I in handcuffs? I think this is Herlock. And I don't
Yeah.
know which one of us wants to be Herlock Sholmes.
Yeah.
That's a choice.
It sure is.
Because one of us is hypothetically going to be the hot British prosecutor who sometimes cosplays as a woman.
That'll probably be me because you're the defense attorney.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I guess I'll be Herlock.
we can trade if it looks like it's just gonna be Ryunosuke and Herlock talking to each other the entire time.
Hypothetically, we'll also get the other girl.
That's why I was thinking. I'm hoping that she has more of a role.
Yes.
But we'll see, I guess.
So you wake up now, huh? Oh, no, it's just one of these guys.
Just a sailor.
We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You found me then. We found you. And now you pay. Criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, huh? Sorry. No, you have been found. It is time to admit your crime. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, huh? No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Oh, it's the lady.
Why did you do it? Why did you take his life?
Mrs. Hato? Wait, what'd you just say? Take his life. Where is he? Where's Kazuma?
Oh.
Did he die? You pretend you do not know. You are a wolf in the sheep's belt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuse. What?
Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago.
Boy, that didn't take long.
Literally just the same, like, story beat as Mia being, like, the mentor and then dying in the second case.
Except it's like a fusion of Phoenix, because instead of Phoenix being around to defend her, I also have to defend myself for the second time.
Here, in this very cabin, that was bolted shut from the inside, with absolutely no signs of the lock being tampered with.
His body? Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs. Surely you don't think I
have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please.
No.
Allie's playing Valorant.
Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago. Well, now I feel like you probably could take Herlock Sholmes because Kazuma doesn't exist anymore.
We'll play it by ear.
Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble?
Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study?
It was really something else when you brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was going to die.
Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. You can't fucking say that, white baby.
Maybe it's like Ryunosuke's like closet trans, and it's like a little pun on like, oh, you must be even less of a, you know.
I am always astounded by your ability to do a generous read of this kind of thing.
I don't know. It's not that. Come on. Hey, Honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body.
Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you.
No, I will say this. For the 1900s, that was probably like a really nice way of saying that from Cosmo's point of view.
Again, generous.
Yeah, I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway.
They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure.
What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady?
From our faithful judicial assistant Miko Toba, you mean? Because then the plot of this chapter doesn't work.
From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away.
No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this.
I suppose so.
Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin.
Into the closet with you.
I know it's cramped, but you better get in there, I think. It won't be for long.
Are we sure that I'm being too generous about the read here? Shoving him in the closet as well?
Cough. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze.
Yeah, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it.
Stop worrying. I tell you what, why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper?
What? Ow.
Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside.
No,
I've
no.
already figured out like more than one of the answers to cross-examinations that we're gonna be given. Like,
Yeah. They don't know how
Couldn't
to
have-
read Japanese, so.
well. So first off, the supposedly Cosmo wrote a message in his blood in Russian, and then also like obviously that was just like the killer's Russian and didn't think about that. And then also like there's no way that Ryunosuke could have hid in that closet after killing and then put the note on it.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be the first time in series history where the prosecutor goes, "You had an accomplice."
You know? Yeah, but it was a locked room supposedly, right?
Yeah. I don't think it'll be that hard to beat up on the logic of the great detective Sholmes.
Sherlock Holmes. Yeah.
Because immediately it's clear he sucks. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. We leave you at the port. Stay quiet till then. Don't make trouble for yourself. Murderer? No, I'm not a murderer. Da! You said before. You said you admit everything about your crime. No, that's not right. I mean, yeah, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Okay, I admit I did it. Suzato-san? Please, tell me what happened. I need to know.
Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you, too.
Oh, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare's getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. He really's been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs. They think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer?
When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside.
What do you mean?
There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls.
What?
Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation?
This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly?
Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances?
Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me.
cause of death is still undetermined.
They don't know how he died?
The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call.
So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then.
That's true, yes.
Can anyone tell me what actually happened here in the cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma?
Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone.
Please.
Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all.
Well, yeah, I was, but...
He would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning.
Sounds like they had a thing.
I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning, he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't.
Does that mean he was already dead when Susato arrived at the cabin door, I wonder?
I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-sama collapsed on the floor.
No blood, though. Not
Or
a
maybe
single drop of blood.
Maybe he does know Russian, and he wrote a message that he was like, the crew will be able to read this and understand that it's not Ryunosuke. But Herlock can't read Russian, so he hasn't translated it yet. I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's something with that.
Yeah. And the white tape there now shows exactly where it was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I'm not 100% convinced he's actually dead.
There's no way. Like, they have like the doctor examining the body. I guess it could be like a coma thing, but then the heartbeat would have had to have stopped. I don't think that's possible.
Maybe.
But you know, the game wants to prove me wrong.
Stranger Things. Must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow.
I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe.
This is all very hard for me to believe too, trust me.
Now I've told you everything that I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question.
Yeah, alright. Oh, my head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything.
Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in the cabin the entire time.
I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing?
No, that would have been impossible, obviously.
Yes, of course.
Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together.
He actually asked you.
Were you hiding in the closet when we were... Anyway, what?
But why?
I'm afraid I don't really know the reasons myself.
I don't understand.
Hey, Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? I'd go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me into England with you.
It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself.
Well, yeah, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious.
You have a talent for it. I can assure you of that.
But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer.
Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development. Yeah, that's a good one. The center of the world in many ways.
If by spearheading cultural development you mean occupying and absolving and
You mean
stealing
driving...
a
you
shit
mean
ton
driving...
of other cultures and shoving them into one.
If by spearhead of cultural development you mean putting spears through the heads of cultural development.
Yeah. The center of the world, in their own mind.
I said that.
Yeah.
There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there?
Well, no. Definitely not.
But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then...
And what?
Nothing. Forget it.
Huh?
I feel like I would have heard if they were gay. Like, just from, like, the community by now. Anyways.
I could 1000% believe he's bi, and he wants both. Susato and him.
Kazuma-sama is... He was always saying the same thing.
Or at the very least, I think Susato has a thing for him.
Mm-hmm. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you.
Yeah, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. We look into each other's eyes a lot, I would know. Hey, I'm Susato-san.
Wow, happy for you.
I'm sorry that we keep it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean.
If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association.
That's exactly right, yeah. Word perfect, in fact. I know his words. You might have his eyes, but I know his words.
If you're not the culprit, then tell me. What happened last night here in this cabin?
Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself in that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. Where did you go to the bathroom? Well, just like I always did. Never mind, don't tell me. After that, I...
Fell asleep.
Well, yeah.
So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed.
Well, yeah. That's impressive, honestly, that he can sleep that soundly inside of a cabinet.
I feel like he might have been poisoned. Maybe there was poison that was meant for... I don't know.
It's possible that he was drugged, and...
Yeah.
It's just like sleeping drugged. No, it's
like the killer wanted to drug Kazuma so that he could like steal something from him, right? And then that food actually goes to Ryunosuke, so he breaks into the room thinking Kazuma is unconscious. Well, it turns out Kazuma's not, and then a fight breaks out and he kills him.
Yeah. Very plausibly.
I play too many of these games.
No, I think that's actually pretty fair. It would mean that the poison didn't kill Ryunosuke, though.
What I'm thinking is that the killer was like, I'm just gonna drug Kazuma so that I can steal something from him, and then not like, you know, be guilty of murder, right? But then he breaks into they break into the room, and Kazuma is conscious, unlike expected, and then it turns into like, oh shit, now I have to kill him because he saw that I was gonna break into his room and shit.
Yeah, that sounds very plausible, honestly, yeah.
In fact, I mean, that makes sense with, like, the lockmate looking busted.
Yes. Okay. Well, congratulations on probably solving what happened. But that's probably only, like, step 1 of 5.
I mean, it could be... I could just be wrong, but...
Is that the fucking statue from Case 1 Trial 1? And like the stuff up there?
No, it's a different. Yeah.
If only I had woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything.
Really?
Hey, is something wrong?
Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it.
Susato-san, you had to believe me. I didn't do it.
I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there's no one else who could possibly have done this.
Oh no, she's a pragmatist. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. No, that was...
Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen.
I'm sorry. But Cosmo was killed right under my nose here. And I didn't do anything to stop it. Now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied. Whoever did this walks free. No, I can't allow that to happen.
Well, what do you propose to do, then?
I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Cosmo's life and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Hi.
Hiya!
Oh, that was Susato. What?
That was a Susato takedown.
Susato what?
Yes, she's weird. Yes.
Good. Is there a normal girl in Ace Attorney?
Well, I thought she might be that one, but here we are.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to prove it.
Sorry, prove it. I think they're all a little neurodivergent.
Yes, your innocence. I need evidence.
But
The thing is a lot of them are more ADHD, but I get vibes from her
that's
that
fair.
she's more autism.
yeah. How am I supposed to?
Have you forgotten already what you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law.
I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime.
Yep.
Yes, I know. It says keep out.
Yes!
Yes. Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors?
Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly.
I thought so. Cosmo always put it in place whenever I went out to sleep in there. Just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well.
Ah! Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them.
But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own.
Yes, that's quite true.
In other words, it's impossible that I killed Cosmo.
Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you.
Thank you, Susato. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? She just did, like, the reverse.
Yeah. Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here at least.
Thank you. So you finally believe me?
I'm sorry. No.
Huh?
I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position.
Does she think I am a magician?
For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same.
Alright, let's work out together, Susato. Let's get to work.
You want to, like, deadlift? What?
Please don't deadlift
Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts.
Oh,
I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example.
yeah, right, okay. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here, examining everything I can. Cosmo, I swear, I will avenge your death. Yep.
Wait, he was here the whole time?
Good back throw. I rate 9 out of 10. Alright, no conversations. There's the carriage move I can present. Hey, Susato-san, about this.
I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. but we don't have time to waste on anything else. We must find clues.
Huh. She looks serious. Really quite deadly serious. Nothing to say. Okay. She won't look at my stuff I'm presenting. What's up with you, dude? Perhaps I should see what this Russian crew member thinks of the scene of the crime. Hey, excuse me. What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about his crime? Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke.
He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty.
He might have useful information, though. I have to keep trying. So, hey, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Yet, of course not. Now back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Huh. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered.
Oh dear, that won't do.
Huh? What's the matter, Susato?
Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly.
Yeah, that's not good.
I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san? I'm sure you're careful to look all around using BM, aren't you?
Well, I typically try to have good manners, but...
Now, let's investigate all the corners of this cabin.
Yeah, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. You should use your BM.
That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it.
He was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. Or some other weeb nonsense like that.
I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip.
I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. Now he's gone, but I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Look, there's Kazuma-san's leg. That was my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty.
Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here?
I'm not a dog, Susato. I ate it at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how did the plate end up on the floor?
But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he?
Oh, that's right. So he didn't touch it.
See?
Which means all the more for me.
Oh no! Does that mean... Poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly. It's just too horrible.
Ugh, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Yeah, definitely drugged.
There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason.
Yeah, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still... No, wait a minute.
What is it?
That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all.
That's... So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama.
No. What do you think that is? Looks like a broken piece of glassware. Or half a bell. The other thing was, it appears to have been broken clean in two.
The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit.
I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? Not with all those manliness comments he directs towards me.
Definitely not projection. And that mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue.
Yeah, you're right. It It is the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I didn't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin.
Yo, Shell Shock Live.
Why did it appear like that?
I don't know.
The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all been toppled the same way. By the way, am I? No, I am. Okay.
And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea. Although he's fallen over as well.
Yeah, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything moved around down here at once.
I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-sama's doing his morning sword training, do you think?
He swung his sword so hard the wind gusted all the books and the statuette to the side. I guess he did kind of do that to the top knot of Mr. Pain. Or Ouchie.
Ouchie.
I seriously doubt it.
Then perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage.
I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder?
I mean, if maybe the ship had, like, a rough turn. Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess.
That's tampering with the crime scene. Maybe you're the criminal.
But it's neurodivergent evidence.
That's true. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Buria.
It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board.
Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in the cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Man, Kazuma, like, failed both of these. What? Why are you staring at me?
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet?
This is the are you the big spoon or the little spoon? I'm the knife! He's the pet.
I can't decide.
Well, one thing's for sure, either way I wasn't supposed to be in here.
That's a very large traveling case, isn't it?
Yeah, it carries a lot of memories for me. And me.
Memories? What do you mean?
Well, that's actually how I stowed away onto this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case.
Ah, yes, I see it says "this way up" in Japanese.
Which in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewmen would have been able to read. Yeah, I was turned over and over and over, and I was tossed on the floor in here.
Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds.
Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown.
Notice they're not opening it. Maybe the killer is in there right now. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing.
London Diary. Alright, you can burn it. Poor Cosma. He didn't even make it to his destination. Looks as though
the last entry is incomplete.
Which means... what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. Could be a valuable clue.
Yeah. That's out of the question.
Huh?
Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. You don't want the toad ghost to kill you, do you?
Well, what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? I can save. I won't get a game over. Alright, I won't read it.
Poor Kazuma-sama.
I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? Seige. Seigi? The Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Well,
how do we tell him? Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet you... Can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully?
Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to?
Even though you stowed away on this ship?
Well, now you're gonna bring that up too, are ya? I can't win.
Already did that one.
Alright, well, it's time to BM, I guess.
It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san?
I think living isn't really quite the right description.
Oh, no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting, making this voyage in your own secret hideout.
The trouble was, I never really knew what a member of the crew might come in. So, yeah, I did basically have to live inside the wardrobe. Last night was no exception.
But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin.
No, sadly not. Chair.
This is... yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think.
What do you mean, contraption?
I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large houses often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants.
Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try?
Yes! In the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. Aww.
No, I'm sure it's just that everyone's busy, that's all. I don't think they'd respond to the murder room.
Probably not.
Did Cosmo write that before he died? Looks like it's written in ink.
He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it.
I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing.
I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san.
Huh? Wait, then what language is it?
It pains me to admit it, but I don't know.
It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? What's the Leon numbers?
What's what?
What's the Leon numbers? It's like 4431. Fuck.
11037.
Yeah.
I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Maybe that's how the imposter got out.
Isn't that a little odd? It'd have to be like a real little guy to vent.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin.
Yes, it would appear to. You're right.
But if its purpose to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside.
That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that?
I suppose. Maybe that's it. That's suspicious. Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. I think he vented. As far as I can tell, it looks like he must be European. Gay or European, maybe.
Oh, how did he...
You've noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious and tall. Suspiciously tall.
Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is?
Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And he is investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell.
Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him.
Am I just imagining it? Just Sato looks almost uncontrollably excited.
By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press space on people when they're in their crosshairs, you can converse with them.
Alright, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself.
Oh, please do.
That suspiciously tall, handsome gentleman. Ow. I can't M anymore, I can only B. I guess we talk to the suspiciously tall gentleman. Hey, excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh. This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly.
Yes, perhaps that would be for the best.
Greetings. I hope I haven't kept you long. Hey, what exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry, what do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me. Oh, yes. Everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troublesome predicament. Oh! Well, that's true at least.
But how?
How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining.
Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else?
But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being, as you are, a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the bare-boned occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you're talking about me, right? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill.
Maybe the sailor guy.
Probably Susato. Susato takedowns can probably kill a man.
Yeah. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama.
Huh?
And you're plotting a revolution, too. It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked.
No, listen, there's no way I...
Yeah. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything.
This is ridiculous.
How could you do it?
For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously.
Oh, forgive me.
And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troublesome predicament, do you not? Well, yeah, I guess maybe. Huh. There you have it, you see. What do you make of that? Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more like plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. I don't think you've introduced yourself. He's less right than the penguin from, like, the train chapter.
Yeah, I was thinking that, actually.
Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I'm none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable, holy shit, Sherlock Holmes.
So, it's really you, the actual Sherlock Holmes.
The very same. The inimitable fucking actual Sherlock Holmes. I'm just gonna call him the you can't copy me Sherlock Holmes. Do you know this man, Susato?
The most famous detective in the world, Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him.
What planet I've been living in, then?
You must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure.
Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Now, hold on. Hey, Mr. Shalms, what do you make of this?
That's not me.
Quiet. Well, I'm ruminating, not you. It's okay, I do that a lot.
No, I know what you meant.
Yeah. While I'm ruminating in the course of my deductions, nothing must disturb my mind. Oh, so sorry. Ah, an Indian curry, perhaps. What's he ruminating about? The lunch menu?
I mean, that is the correct choice.
I've never seen anything like this. Most extraordinary writing.
You said the same earlier this morning, I think.
Ah, yes, indeed, but its uncommonness is so remarkable I felt the need to say it anew. Yes, I do believe. These characters may be crude in their attempt at a Japanese script. What?
Mr. Naruhodo, I don't like to be the one to tell you this, but I think Mr. Sholmes is trying to say that your handwriting is a little untidy.
Is he making fun of me? Also, I think it was Kazuma who wrote that.
No, Kazuma told Ryunosuke to write it.
Oh. Damn. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I'm none other than the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Herlock, was it? No,
That's
no,
good.
I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication.
Oh yes, Renst magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially.
Ah, yeah. Here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed, I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson. I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. I read that as a cursed royal clown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form.
The fucking one line I take a drink of water during. A science.
Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, feathers in the skin. All these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short minutes ago. How can you look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Herlock Sholmes. That was one.
Yeah.
Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him.
When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open.
And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Herlock Sholmes was on board. And the handcuffs seemed to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. No, really, two facts, you say?
Oh, God.
Mr. Sholmes, please tell us. What two facts were apparent when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes. But first, let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Uh-huh. I understand. What were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number one, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number two, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. Papayopop. That is the Russian word for wardrobe.
Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian?
In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Garderobe may be the name of the killer. A certain Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least.
Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly.
Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people.
Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people. I had no idea.
And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message that I might analyze it for possible hidden detail. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered before the body was removed. Yeah, Cosmo had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this.
Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Can I ask you for something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that... Ah, yes. A train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Go hail. Certainly, if it interests
It's
you.
nowhere near how that's probably pronounced.
Oh,
but-
no, I'm going off of my fucking ass here. I have no idea. I'm like, oh, that looks like a Y, so Koheo. Koheo. I have no idea. It's probably something like Goranquino or something like that. I could not even pretend to attempt.
Yeah.
How many times? I'm not Russian. I don't speak Russian. Can we talk about your deduction from before? The things you concluded about me, I mean. Ah, the now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part. Ah, yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads: Revolutionary vows Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday. Last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Cosimo a Russian?
It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor.
It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him in order to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you villain Bolshevik. No, how could it be me? I don't look anything like this man, just look at his face! Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well.
This is fucking part 4 of JoJo. Like, come on.
Please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list, need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway.
What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower.
Ah, yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all these particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake.
Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder?
What about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. By the way, it's very distracting that Herlock Sholmes look very much like a Zuperosi.
Yeah.
Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place.
Come on, man. Know your geography.
I don't blame him. He's lived in Japan.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because
I lived in
Matthew
America.
Perry came in with his army of warships and said 20 years ago, hey, know the rest of the world all of a sudden.
You have to stop talking about this guy, because every time I think for at least, like, 2 seconds, you're talking about the actor from Friends. Like, you...
I do
like,
love the
it
concept.
It distracts me so much.
If I said Commodore Perry, would that be better?
No, because it's funnier this way.
What if I said it was Commodore Perry the Platypus who came in and opened?
We're... No.
Okay.
No.
Alright. Here, take this paper for yourself as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I have absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. Well, that could be recycled, Mr. Herlock. Huh, we don't do that in the country of Great Britain. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back, it's a comic about a cat. Cast your eye over it sometimes if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two.
Well, let's take a look.
Yeah, alright. Take a look at it. Can't find anything out in this place.
I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian.
No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Yeah, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale.
Oh my goodness, he is fearsome.
Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off.
I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes.
Alright. So it was like... oh, alright, click. There we go. Lead. This is interesting.
Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san?
Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting.
I can't read a single word, I'm afraid.
No, nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think?
She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you could enjoy articles like this, do you?
I don't know. I can't make any sense of it, huh? I'm glad you've noticed this article.
Ah,
Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. That's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Nova Beach Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Despite a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It would appear this woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from a dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you now see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles.
wow, that's a lot of money when you're not in 2024.
No. How much is 20,000 rubles?
I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money.
Suzato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yeah, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports, with sailings to Great Britain.
Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing their country?
It does seem to be a Russian thing to do.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Just for reference, by the way, currently 20,000 Russian rubles is about $200.
Oh, jeez. Their ruble has absolutely tanked even more than the dollar, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I'm not sure the war helped.
No, the war is the main reason why it is tanked.
Yeah. Hey, were you just investigating, by the way, bud? Before we started talking, we were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma. Ah, yes, the victim.
Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all?
Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. You see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes for the trip. But I don't think he should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. I don't care. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. I don't know if I could take him down. He's kind of big. Susato-san, are you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns?
I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean?
Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author was cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, Nikaido, nado nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters of which I can read precisely none. So was all that shoving off from before then?
If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it for you, Mr. to you, Mr. Sholmes.
I'm much obliged, my dear madam.
Oh, that's me. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound.
A whistling sound? Is a very deep waters. Pray go on.
The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Bitten by a snake. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean?
I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before.
The ventilator grill, you saying? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yeah, the adjoining cabin. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least.
Ah, do you have somewhere to go?
As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I do believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold.
Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to.
Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation, who crave mental exaltation. So yes,
So, yes. Oh, I thought it said Susato, because I read the first character.
Yeah. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, yeah, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter now. There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing.
Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too.
You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. You have excellent knees. Stop looking at my knees! Susato, he's looking at my knees. Well, anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor says twisted is his name. Twisted.
That's
Yeah.
funny that they acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? You must go and investigate the cabin next door as well.
Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can...
Yeah. After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just going to roll over and accept your fate?
Oh, as if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigations to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's go and examine what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door.
Good idea.
The situation doesn't look good for me. There's still things I can do to help myself. I know to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this. And bring the real culprit to justice. These games are really great at not dwelling on really close to loved ones dying before their eyes.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't really die before our eyes, but,
You know. So I guess there's something, at least something that we haven't done yet. Did you do the ink bottle on the ground? It doesn't have one. Okay. What about that like pipe in the top left-ish? No. What about the lamp hanging? No. Wait, hold on. Go back
just
to
the door.
Wait, go back to the bookshelf. I know you already checked it, but up a little. Go to the. Okay, no. I just didn't see the checkmark blended in. Yeah, try the door. When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed.
Alright. It's quite a small bolt, not particularly sturdy. It just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there'd be no way to get in or out of the cabin. That's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel. The culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this.
Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself, but the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal and they seal together perfectly. There'd be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid.
When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. I think that's it. Oh, look over there.
The crewman, do you mean? He wasn't there before, was he?
That's what I thought.
Why don't we try talking to him?
Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again. But I suppose I could try. Is that...
Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san?
Oh, no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. Can't help but feeling I've just seen him somewhere before. Oh. It's gonna be the guy who has the allergies.
Oh, yes, you're right. He does look familiar. I hope you're right. Excuse me, sir. Oh my god, you're right.
What can I do for you?
Oh my god.
I think he is a mainstay.
That's so good. I'm so happy about this.
I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is.
I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga.
Hello again. What are you even doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped.
Nearly stopped, I hope.
I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship. Again? Yes. We
You
decided
certainly seem to enjoy...
We're going
Go
to
on.
do Game 5 again.
You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. Hopefully this time when you, are the twist villain, you're actually fucking interesting!
Did you know
God.
the inside of my heart is like an empty vessel?
Shut the fuck up.
If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board. But perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Hey look, I have a pin. Inspector, can I show you this? What the, is that a fabled Imperial Yume University pin badge? Not sure if it's really fabled or not exactly, but... So, you're a genuine student then? Sorry? Nothing like me with my regular schooling. You're something much greater. Is that what you were trying to say? Can I have my badge back, please? Okay. Yeah, this is the paper seal that was stuck over the wardrobe door this morning, isn't it? That's right. Tried to stop the cabin steward opening it and discovering me. Wouldn't have been better to write it in English if you didn't know Russian. Well, maybe, but Ofuda paper amulets like this are kind of a part of our culture, Inspector. And I thought if I made it look creepy enough, people would be too scared to want to look inside. Well, it isn't exactly easy being a stowaway, is it? How does he know that, like, their paper seals are creepy? Maybe, like, in Japanese lore, they are creepy.
Yeah, I think maybe.
Hey, have you seen this photograph yet, Inspector? Thanks.
Oh dear, are you alright, Inspector?
Yes, sorry. I'm fine. I was hoping to hide my upset with a fit of coughing and spluttering. I'm usually very good at it. Trying to stifle my feelings seems to have stifled my cough this time.
It's all so sad.
Asogi-san was such a promising young man. The Empire had such high hopes for him. I had such high hopes for him, even though I'm just a detective. We're all gonna miss you, Kazuma. Me most of all. We were in a relationship together. Wait, what?
What the fuck? Everyone was dating him except for me? God fucking damn.
Can I show you this newspaper, Inspector? I'm sorry, but I can't read Russian very well. Why does he have something to say about everything I'm presenting?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh no, that's alright. I know what it says. So you just wanted to point out your university-level linguistic talents, is that it? Sorry? Nothing like me with my regular schooling. You're something much greater. Is that what you were trying to say? Sorry, forget I mentioned it. No, he just has something to say about everything. Gotta show you this newspaper, Inspector. Oh, I'm sorry, but I can't read Russian very well. Maybe that's like his gag, is that he'll always have something to say about everything. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Like, he just never says no.
Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary.
I guess that kind of goes along with the gag of him being the police who takes everything from the crime scene because he wants it to be perfect, so he preserves everything.
Mm-hmm.
Strange. In what way?
He wrote, "What looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill."
A speckled band? That is strange. I've heard of the Star-Spangled Banner. Yeah, well, we're trying to work out what he meant by that. You know, what I'd like to know is, don't tell me. The ventilator, is it?
You're very astute, Inspector.
The ventilator clearly joins to the next cabin. That's right. So if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. All right, then.
Shot to kill. I see we all have our interesting theories for this case.
Yeah. I don't know much yet.
Well, did Allie go through the mic?
Oh, yeah, she said, I just shot two,
She said 1 shot, 2 kills.
Oh, yeah. That's what Allie thinks the case is gonna lead to. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I gotta get the joke now.
Okay.
I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you.
Really? You're willing to do that?
Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove these handcuffs, though. And also, because you decided to do all the presentations first, you will not get to talk to me. That's probably
I did
a lot
have
of
that
dialogue
worry.
missing. But what about the captain? Are you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you.
Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move, and we can leave this cabin at last.
Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. Oh no, they will let me talk. That's nice of them.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, so what are your special orders this time, Inspector?
Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew?
I'm so sorry. Huh? This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard.
Okay, the game definitely definitely thought we would read this before presenting shit.
Yes.
They reference it. So from now on, let's talk to everyone before we start presenting things.
Absolutely, yes, correct. It was Minister of Justice Jikogu who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san's reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that have even been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these were complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jikogu said we should be prepared for all sorts of eventualities. Was Japan considered a world power at this point?
I mean, they certainly got there within, 10, 20 years.
They sure did. They hyper trained and they like
So
went super
I would say,
militaristic.
so I would say, yeah, probably.
Hmm.
I mean, you don't get there from nowhere in like that short amount of time.
I think
so.
it's because like they were bullied by China for a while, and then they like hit them back hard, and like through their resources, they were able to like get to a world power position. Don't quote me on that. This is incredible, though.
I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated.
Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew.
I see.
I didn't take my eyes off him the entire night we've been on board, from morning until night every day. But I never imagined it would happen here inside his own cabin. Not here on the first-class deck.
Ellipses.
I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san's dead as a result. Despite him being on first-class deck, he was third-rate murdered, and I'm a fourth-rate assassin bodyguard. I tried. It's late.
Yeah.
I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So if there's anything at all I can do to help now, just say the word. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you.
Really? You're willing to do that?
Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs,
Okay.
though.
I think this is repeat dialogue.
What about the captain? Are you gonna go into... yeah. And a man of my word. And I promise you I'll lay my life on the line, if that's what it takes to convince the captain. Yeah. Move.
And I think this is a good spot to save and stop for the night.
Yeah. Managed to finish up the first cabin investigation part.
Yeah.
I remember how to save, I promise. G. There we go. So yeah. We'll come back next time. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band.
Well, I said it wasn't part 4 of JoJo, but Unbreakable right there.
Yeah. Isn't Unbreakable... Wait, no. Unbreakable 6.
Diamond is Unbreakable. That's 4.
Oh, shit. Okay.
6 is Stone Ocean.
Gotcha. I don't know my JoJo.
Yeah, that's... I mean, that's probably a good thing.
The first one has vampires in it, right?
The first 2 do. Yeah. And technically... Because Dio is a vampire, you could say part 3 does, but he doesn't actually use any of his vampire powers.
Are they hot vampires?
Well, okay, he does use vampire powers in part 3, but like barely. Are they hot? Yeah, some of them. I mean, none of them are women, so L.
Damn.
That's actually like a pretty huge L.
There's no Camilla. It's just all a bunch of Drax.
Yeah, it's a bunch of, JoJo buff dudes with fangs, so hot conventionally, not my cup of tea.
Damn.